A new motion has been filed by Trump's defense team to further investigate what happened with District Attorney Fani Willis. Now, as we all know, DA Fani Willis has been given the choice to either remove herself or Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade from the Trump Georgia election case. We're also very well aware that Willis is not leaving this case. No matter what happens, she's staying put because this is basically a case that's getting tons of eyeballs. A lot is on the line right here, and Judge Scott McAfee, he's in the hot seat once again. So the question is, what is Scott McAfee gonna do?
Judge Scott McAfee's ruling to let DA Fani Willis stay on the election interference case could factor heavily in this year's political campaign.
That's going to be a big election issue, I think, for the judge.
McAfee, a Republican, is up for re-election as Superior Court judge in Fulton County.
Politically, I think Judge McAfee is in serious political trouble.
Right now, McAfee faces opposition from lawyer and talk show host Robert Patillo and Tiffany Johnson, a former staff attorney for a Fulton County judge. Phil Kent is a Republican strategist.
Well, he could lose. My phone blew up with a lot of Republicans saying, I'm not voting for this guy.
Steve Sadow, lead counsel for Trump's legal case in Fulton County, he recently posted on his X account. He revealed that the former president, together with 7 other defendants, have jointly filed a motion. This is big news, guys. In fact, this motion, it's to request the court to grant a certificate of immediate review of their order denying dismissal of the case and the disqualification of Fulton County DA Fani Willis. Now, there's a lot to unpack here. Before we get into it, all I ask is that you guys take 1 second, drop a quick like for the video. I totally appreciate you guys. And if you really want to help to get this truth out here, definitely share this video on Facebook and Twitter. I'd like to thank you guys so much for doing that. All right, so let's go ahead and unpack things here. It sure looks like things are actually about to get started in Georgia for real. Removing Nathan Wade was probably just the first step. And Steve Sadow, he and his team are looking to get things junked before the elections.
Wade's resignation comes after Judge Scott McAfee ruled that either he or Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis had to step down.
We have team coverage tonight, beginning with investigator Zach Merchant, who has a legal perspective on how we got to today's ruling and Wade's decision.
You're right, and there has been a lot of twists and turns even just today, and we want to bring you the very latest. Just in the last half hour, we've obtained a copy of Nathan Wade's resignation letter and DA Fani Willis's note accepting it. That means Wade is now off of the case, and Willis and the remainder of her staff can continue to prosecute it. Now, here's how we got here. The pair, who shared a romantic relationship, were accused by defense attorneys of improperly financially benefiting from the case, creating what they said was a conflict of interest that damaged their ability to impartially prosecute it.
So Trump's team questioned McAfee's decision to keep at least Fani Willis or Nathan Wade in the case. And that's obvious within the motion, as it looked to have pulled no punches, stating that even the court found that Willis's actions created an appearance of impropriety and an odor of mendacity. McAfee chose not to disqualify Willis or even dismiss the case. Mendacity being the tendency to lie. Now, we all saw with our own eyes just how these people lied to us. They lied to Judge McAfee's face. Nathan Wade and Fani Willis were dishonest about when they started dating. They seemed very dishonest about the vacations that they took and how Willis paid Wade back. Remember, she did not produce a single receipt or bank statement that would back up her claim. Even Wade's former lawyer, Terrence Bradley, he suddenly switched up his story when he was put on the stand for testimony. Now, this motion is putting the obvious pieces together that something's wrong with this picture. Something is off. And Judge McAfee, he needs to grant this motion to Trump's team. Now, Judge McAfee, he's not doing himself any favors right now with this ruling to keep at least one of either Willis or Wade on the case. Because what it's doing is it's showing that he's just trying to pander to both sides. It's also come under fire from certain critics that there may be a hint of corruption given how many lies were told under oath. Others say that it's more of him being afraid to do what's right rather than just corruption. Whatever the case may be, a lot of people disagree with him. Steve Sadow being one of those people. So it says here in the motion that the March 15th order from McAfee, it's of great importance to this case. He emphasizes that it's impacting the defendant's right to due process. What many experts say with this is that Trump and his co-defendants, they seem to be perceived as being guilty until proven innocent versus the other way around. That shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't be the case for anyone, especially within our justice system. And I've seen plenty of feedback from different people in multiple platforms. The common topic that people have opened up is that How can McAfee say that there's enough appearance of a conflict of interest, but then fail to remove both of these individuals who brought about this entire idea? Because at that point, it would be justified to have both of them removed rather than just picking one of the two, right? And it's hard to argue with that logic because it makes perfect sense. And it's also one of the many reasons for this motion. Another reason from the motion itself reads that there is a continuing possibility that an outsider could reasonably think that the district attorney, Fani Willis, is not exercising her independent professional judgment free of any compromising influences. So this alludes to the possibility of bias or outside interference or influence from unknown sources. This is something that's obviously unacceptable given the fact that the justice system should be fair for both sides. Now, with that being said, the motion continues by saying that the defendants believe that their relevant case law, it requires dismissal of the case. Either that or, at the very least, remove DA Fani Willis and her entire office from the case. Now, what's also very questionable here is that Judge Scott McAfee, he's basically said that he knew both of these people were lying. They were testifying under oath and they were lying. Yet he still ruled that it's okay to have one of the two people who lied to his face and the people of Georgia on this case. Now, for anybody who might not be aware, perjury is a crime. In fact, it's a felony in Georgia. You can be fined or even put in prison for up to 5 years. Fani Willis and Nathan Wade, they do it, and, well, they just get a slap on the wrist. Steve Sadow further added that Wade resigning, it's not going to cut it. It's not going to be enough for Trump's legal team, and it might not even be enough for a lot of Americans. Because Judge Scott McAfee, he should want to bring some kind of credibility to the table here, and he's not doing it, or at least he hasn't yet. And this motion clearly states that Wade resigning from this case is insufficient to cure the appearance of the impropriety that the court has determined exists. Experts are saying that Sadow is not giving McAfee much room to retort here. He's using the facts that have been discussed beforehand, and he's also using them to push McAfee in the right direction. Because if he doesn't grant the certificate to Trump and his co-defendants, more people will question him. Because by then, he's just arguing with himself. It's also been discussed that if the certificate isn't granted and the case goes to trial and is overturned on appeal, it would likely require the retrial of every convicted defendant. Sadow also argued that immediate appellate review is needed for the order. The motion concluded that all defendants have a right and are entitled to a disinterested prosecutor. That means that the prosecutor on the case shouldn't have a personal interest or stake in the conviction. Sadow then proceeds to list out similar cases where the court ruled to provide a certificate of immediate review. This is what many analysts are seeing as a checkmate of some sort, because the law should be the same for everyone. Now, we all have the same rights, and while the circumstances are not exactly the same, the law remains constant. At the very end, he concluded that they're requesting to have the certificate of immediate review and for the dismissal and disqualification of DA Fani Willis from the case. Critics argue that Judge McAfee will be forced to get this done if he wants any of his credibility back. So we're now living in a time where the standard is just so much lower when it comes to justice. Did you know that in Washington state, you can become an attorney without even taking the bar exam? That's what the Supreme Court of Washington just approved over there. They're providing alternative methods for individuals to become attorneys, and it's lowering the bar for everyone else. It's a change that other states are also talking about. You can say that this is expected given what we've seen them do to Trump. They pretty much just let any old riffraff in the courtroom now. But you gotta admit, it's definitely disappointing to see. Now, we're sure to see some developments with Trump's case very soon, and I'm going to do my best to keep you guys informed every single day. Now, before I go, I just want to thank you guys for hitting the like button for the video. Thank you for sharing this video on Facebook and Twitter, and I'll see you on the next one.